I was an unstackable Pringle.
Pringles potato chips and their dapper, mustachioed mascot have an interesting story. There has been a long-running argument over whether these salty snacks are actually chips or crisps. But regardless of the truth, the unique saddle-shaped snack that comes in a tube is popular the world over. So let's pop the lid on the top 10 untold truths about Pringles chips.
Try saying no to these salty parabolas.
What's in a name?
Say my name.
Most snack lovers are probably familiar with the Pringles mascot seen on every can of chips. This well-groomed character with his hair parted down the middle and a bold mustache has literally been the face of Pringles since the late 1960s. Julius Pringles, as the character has always been known, was invented by a man named Lewis R. Dixon. This well-known cartoon face has undergone some minor cosmetic changes over the years, such as having his rosy red cheeks removed in 1996, as well as getting extra classy in 2002 when they decided to add a bow tie to the Mr. Pringle design.
He's wearing a bow tie, look at him.
I suppose these changes gave him a slightly more sleek and modern look, so the classic mascot could continue to compete in the hyper-competitive snack market. This is a market that almost always caters to a young demographic. From that point of view, it's a little surprising they didn't revamp Julius into a completely new character. Regardless of the changes Julius has endured, he has remained a popular mascot recognized all around the world. Customers commonly refer to Julius as the Pringles guy, but the truth is, it's nice to know he has a dignified name that fits his classic design.
I always thought the Pringles man had the kindest eyes.
Do not adjust your Pringles can.
Please don't turn down my music.
You won't be able to host a rock concert using an empty Pringles can anytime soon, but you can make a rudimentary speaker that will boost your smartphone sound. The basic design for this makeshift speaker involves cutting a slot in the side of an empty Pringles can so you can stand up your phone inside it. The next step is to stuff some napkins or toilet paper inside the empty tube. This will dampen the echo produced by the hollow tube and improve the sound. It's also recommended by the online speaker enthusiasts that you glue some type of beads or clips to the bottom of the can so it stays in place.
Don't move a muscle.
Otherwise, your new speaker will be in constant danger of rolling onto its side, or even worse, onto the floor. You might be inclined to think this is just another one of those silly marketing gimmicks for a popular snack brand. However, the consensus on the internet is that this simple-to-make speaker actually does give your phone increased volume and a crisper sound. Just a few short minutes of preparation and your Pringles can will be ready to rock out at your next kitchen concert.
He's ready to rock!
Stranger than fiction.
I know, it seems so strange.
Gene Rodman Wolfe is a prolific science fiction and fantasy writer who has published books with names like The Book of the New Sun. This popular fantasy novel has been ranked as the third best of its kind, written before 1990 after The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Although Mr. Wolfe is mostly known for his literary works, he also played an important role in a key episode in Pringles history. After fighting in the Korean War in the early 1950s, Wolfe returned to the United States and worked to earn a degree in industrial engineering from the University of Houston. After graduating from college, he worked in the engineering field for a number of years before switching over to become a full-time writer.
I'm a writer.
At one point in his engineering career, Mr. Wolfe had an opportunity to do some work for the makers of Pringles chips. He used his extensive knowledge of engineering, and perhaps his vivid imagination as well, to design the machine that cooks these unique chips. So even if Mr. Wolfe hadn't had a successful career as a fiction writer, he would have been celebrated by Pringles fans for his important contribution to this popular snack.
Really good job, Gene.
Brad Pitt was the face of Pringles.
Maybe if you were Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt is a Hollywood star well known for his leading man good looks and a long list of film credits. You probably know that Pitt was married to Hollywood beauties Angelina Jolie and Jennifer Aniston, and has been involved with a string of other desirable women like Gwyneth Paltrow. But did you know that early in his acting career, Pitt was the star of a Pringles television commercial?
Did you know that? No, me? I didn't know that, no.
Television commercials are common stops along the career paths of young actors who haven't made it big yet. Many times, actors prefer to want to forget these modest early roles and focus on their hit movie roles. This particular Pringles commercial doesn't look like it was worthy of winning any awards. On the other hand, the handsome Mr. Pitt appears to be having a lot of fun in this 1989 spot where he is seen eating Pringles chips and hanging out with beautiful young women. Maybe there's a chance Mr. Pitt can be convinced to reprise this role and share some small screen time with Mr. Julius Pringle once again. While it would certainly be a fun marketing ploy, we probably shouldn't hold our breaths.
Don't hold your breath.
Who invented Pringles?
He must be a genius.
Product development can be a complicated business, and this is true in the case of Pringles chips. At least 2 men have been identified with the invention of this popular snack. The story starts out straightforward enough when in 1956, Procter & Gamble asked a chemist named Frederick Bauer to come up with a new potato chip. The company wanted to respond to consumer complaints about damaged and oil-laden chips. Customers were also annoyed by all the air in their bags of potato chips. After working on the project for 2 years, Bauer came up with fried dough in the now familiar saddle shape, along with a tubular can. But there was one problem.
Houston, we have a problem.
The new chips didn't taste very good, so Bauer was dropped from the experimental potato chip program. About 10 years later, P&G decided to try again and tapped a man named Alexander Lipa to develop a new and tasty chip. He used Bauer's work as a starting point moving forward and eventually did succeed in making a new chip his bosses were happy with. Most people who have looked at this controversy consider Bauer the true inventor of the Pringles chip, but it is Mr. Lipa's name on the patent. But it looks like Mr. Bauer might have gotten the last laugh because his ashes were actually buried in a Pringles can. How's that for a legacy?
It's about legacy.
Chip or not a chip?
It's an important question.
Many potato chip makers were alarmed by the success of Pringles brand chips. They decided to band together and complain that the chips were not, in fact, chips. The group argued that P&G shouldn't be allowed to call its tasty new product a potato chip. Perhaps instead of complaining about Pringles, the other companies should have gotten to work on creating new snacks customers wanted to eat. The people tasked with marketing Pringles decided to refer to the snack as newfangled potato chips, and its customers happily accepted this. However, the Food and Drug Administration was not so happy, and in 1975 ruled against Pringles. The company decided to shrug off the government's decision and made a decision to change the description of their product. They started calling the snacks crisps. Years later, this led to a court battle in the United Kingdom where they are serious about their crisps.
It's extremely serious.
In 2008, the British government ruled Pringles, as a crisp, are an unnecessary food and therefore subject to a value-added tax. P&G went to court to argue Pringles are indeed a basic food because they are made from a dough and not just a lowly potato crisp product. The court ultimately ruled that Pringles aren't subject to the VAT and customers could go about their business of enjoying the tasty snack, regardless of whether they're technically chips or crisps.
Who cares?
An embarrassment of chips.
So embarrassed.
Pringles potato chips are a tasty favorite around the world, so it's safe to assume everyone will be happy with only a handful of flavors. For a while, the chip maker got away with selling the basic chip flavor to customers, and they seemed content. However, with such a diverse customer base, it was just a matter of time before they'd have to offer more. There are a lot of palates to satisfy and a lot of opportunities to experiment with unique flavors. The drive to satisfy all of these different tastes has resulted in at least 100 flavors of Pringles chips. Some of the more popular flavors include sour cream and onion, cheddar, barbecue, and ranch.
And I love ranch flavor.
But these varieties barely scratch the surface of potential flavors. Some of the unique Pringle flavors found on the international snack market include blueberry and hazelnut, Bangkok grilled chicken wing, cinnamon sweet potato, and garlic seafood. It seems like there is literally a Pringle flavor for every conceivable taste. So you'll be covered whether you prefer the original Pringles or crave something more exotic like Indonesian satay, a seasoned and grilled meat dish. The dessert-flavored chips that include things like cinnamon and chocolate might seem a little odd, but different combinations of sweet and salty chips have been a popular choice for many.
Sweet and salty.
Hot dog in a can.
Hot dog!
If you thought the Pringles can made into a speaker was a pretty cool idea, then you're really going to love the Pringles can as a hot dog cooker idea. Even though the Pringles can speaker turned out to be real, the Pringles hot dog cooker seemed to be an internet-inspired hoax. After you've eaten all the chips, the empty can will have to be cut open to expose the shiny foil surface on the inside of the can. Once you have the interior exposed, simply place a hot dog inside, suspended by a skewer fitted through both ends of the can. Hot dog enthusiasts have reported on the internet that when exposed to the energy of the sun, the temperature of the interior of the can will easily rise above 170 degrees.
Is it getting hot in here?
You should know at the outset that you don't want to be in much of a hurry to eat your hot dog if this is the heating method you've decided to use. However, you can finish the rest of the chips while you're waiting for your hot dog to heat up. Obviously, you'll have to buy additional cans of Pringles if you want to cook more than one hot dog at a time. If you get tired of waiting, you can always use a microwave oven instead. Since typically hot dogs have already been cooked when you buy them, a makeshift Pringles cooker is more than enough to heat them up. Hot dogs certainly go well with Pringles, but the question is, do Pringles come in a hot dog flavor?
That would be awesome. You're right, Hillary.
Pringles? That is the question.
Is that a serious question?
In 2004, Procter & Gamble decided to introduce a twist: tasty Pringles chips to feed your taste buds, and fun facts and trivia questions to feed your brain. The company explained that it would use edible blue and red food dyes and a special conveyor belt printer to print questions and answers on the side of a chip. But the question was, did people want to work their brains or just pop more chips into their mouths? In a partnership with companies like the makers of the Trivial Pursuit Junior game, P&G decided on several categories, including a variety of jokes, fun facts, and animal facts. Market research about the plan conducted by P&G provided the company with some important insights. For example, customers told researchers that each chip in a can would need to have a different message. This seems like an unnecessarily high bar for a lowly snack food to have to meet, but the customer is always right.
Always.
The reasoning behind this particular demand was that children and parents alike would be disappointed by duplicate messages in the same can. And yeah, that makes sense. Although no final decision has been made, P&G suggested that sometime in the future, Pringles chips could be printed with other messages, such as advertisements. This idea might not go over as well as the trivia questions did, but we have a strong feeling it wouldn't prevent most customers from continuing to enjoy one of their favorite snacks.
What kind of snacks?
Totally tubular.
Totally tubular, dude.
Fans of the classic tubular canister we all associate with Pringles chips have a chemist to thank for the unique design. When Frederick Bauer tackled the customer complaints of greasy, broken chips in an air-filled bag, he decided to design a saddle-shaped chip, which is technically known as a hyperbolic paraboloid. This is a shape that is easily stacked and can be conveniently shipped and sold in a rigid container. The result is the very recognizable tubular canister that continues to be associated with Pringles chips sold around the world. This forward-thinking design has led to a significant reduction in the amount of breakage. Also, customers don't have to open packages filled with a lot of air. Specifically, the bags are filled with nitrogen, instead of more chips. The only drawback is that after you've eaten a few chips, you have to tip the can over on its side to get the chips to slide out.
Best to have Pringles in bowls, otherwise you get Pringle hands.
We've always been a little suspicious that these stackable chips in a can were part of a clever marketing ploy to make it even easier for hungry customers to eat plenty of chips. Either way, Pringles chips are a unique snack that are sold in what is probably one of the most recognizable food packages out there.
You're too recognizable.
Stay right here for more of our great videos. Just tap that screen. Checking us out for the first time? Then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our notification squad.